So glad as always you can join us for Mariners baseball here on Root Sports, as tonight the Mariners get set to take on the Houston Astros. Game 2 of a 4-game series. The Mariners after this on to Anaheim, as we are in the middle of a lengthy 10-game road trip, all with teams from the American League West. Just about set to go for the first pitch here tonight. As the crowd filling up here inside the ballpark, the roof will be open once again tonight. It was open last night as well, and you'd have to think that by the next time the Mariners come here to town, it will be closed. It's not open for very long. Mike Capel, we take a look now at tonight's Mariners starting lineup.
Thank you, Aaron. Tonight's starting lineup brought to you by Chevron. Leading off, it will be Seth Smith. Austin Jackson, what a game he had last night. 3 for 5, a couple of stolen bases, and a run scored. Then you have Cano, Cruz, and Seager in the middle of the lineup. Nelson Cruz will be the DH hitting cleanup. Morrison, Miller, Ackley, and Jesus Sucre getting his first start of the series. He will bat 9th. For Deduno, we can see what he has done this year. This will be his 6th appearance. First start for him. A 2.89 ERA, has 7 strikeouts over the 9 1/3 that he has worked so far. Opponents hitting just .219. He has yet to give up a home run. And our American Family Insurance defense, Rasmus in left field, Marisnik in center, Springer the right fielder, Valbuena and VR on the left side of the infield, Altuve and Chris Carter on the right side. Jason Castro will do the catching. For Deduno, in his last outing against the Athletics, 2 1/3, couple of hits, gave up 1 run. It was earned, had a walk and a strikeout in that one. He will be limited on his pitches that he's able to throw today. So we'll also see a bunch of the guys out of the bullpen for the Astros. For Deduno, good fastball, 88 to 91. He'll try to sink it, can cut it at times. Also has a slider, curve, and change.
1 ball and 1 strike to Smith, leading off for the second straight night. You kind of get the sense, talking with A.J. Hinch, the first-year manager of the Astros, he was not willing to put an exact pitch count on Deduno tonight, but you kind of got the feeling that it was going to be in the neighborhood of 4 innings, depending on how efficient he could be. What a month of April it has, or was, for Hinch in his first season as the Astros skipper. Right back to Deduno. Some self-defense results in out number 1.
Well, Seth gets a fastball that he can handle right on the outside corner and hits it right back to Deduno. If he had not been able to glove it, you can see the shortstop. They had the shift on. The shortstop was standing right there, so VR would have been able to make the play.
Deduno, 31 years old, out of the Dominican Republic. 6th season in the majors, his 2nd with the Astros. Number of years in the rotation for the Minnesota Twins. So this is someone who has pitched as a starter, although has been mostly used as reliever since coming over to Houston.
When the Mariners saw him as a starter when he was with the Twins, he can get wild at times.
No, you're right. If you look at his numbers, those 2 years in the Twins rotation, really did not have very good command. Walks to strikeout ratio not good at all.
A lot of 3-2 counts with him, inconsistent with his fastball command.
For Deduno, this is his first start since game 161 of last season, when he faced a National League lineup. He pitched against the Mets at Citi Field. And right on cue, a 4-pitch walk to Jackson with 1 out.
We highlighted Jackson, a couple of stolen bases for him last night. So if he feels the need to run here early in the ball game this evening.
One out, 1 on for Cano. Robinson last night with 2 hits. That snapped it over for his 18 slump. Lloyd was talking about that today, and he said, you know what? Robbie's going to be Robbie. No concern from Lloyd. Nor should there be. Kind of goes back to something Lloyd has said, Mike, about the Mariners as a team. When you get off to a poor start to begin the season, it's highlighted even more so than if you do that back or later in, say, June or July. The same holds true for any hitter.
Oh, it definitely holds true for a hitter. They all are going to go through the stretches where they go 0 for 12, 0 for 14 at some point. But if you have a number of at-bats, although it'll hurt your averages, it's this fly ball out to center field. If it drops 10 points and you're already hitting 280, it doesn't seem as bad as sitting in that 150 on the scoreboard.
Right.
That's why I've always said, Aaron, position players especially, they want to get into the season. We just finished up the first month. The players want to get through all of that and just settle into a season, and I think the guys are getting close to that now.
Nelson Cruz has certainly settled in nicely as a Seattle Mariner. His first month in the books. You can see what he's done so far. An OPS over 1,000, leading the American League in slugging. Tied with Hanley Ramirez for the most home runs and RBIs in the game. There goes Jackson. Throw down to Altuve, and Jackson is safe. Fifth steal this season for Austin Jackson, who was busy on the base paths last night as well. He had a couple.
And a good time to go. Couple of outs. Get yourself into scoring position. Jackson stole 20 bases last year. I think his goals are to go well past that this year.
Opposite way for Cruz with the shift on. Jackson being held up at third.
Good idea. Springer, one of the better throwing arms, and he throws it to home plate all the way in the air. It's a strike. A solid base hit for Cruz.
That's a pellet home from Springer. It's interesting because last year we saw Springer in right field. Dexter Fowler was in center field for the Astros. Fowler has now moved on to the Cubs in an offseason trade. But the thought process was that one day Springer would be the center fielder for the Houston Astros. But as A.J. Hinch said earlier today, he really likes Marisnick in center field. And it was interesting, Mike, he kind of threw out the phrase, and it's kind of some baseball talk, that Springer is a more physical center fielder, Marisnick a more athletic center fielder. He just likes the stride and the angles that Marisnick takes in center field, and believes that Springer is better fit for right field.
Probably better routes to the ball, so he's going to cover more ground. And Marisnick, he's a good-looking young player, so I can't argue with AJ at all. I would agree with that.
Springer played center field coming up through the minors, had a phenomenal minor league career before the call-up last season, as Seager's ahead 2-0. A.J. Hinch has held just about every job in the game, was director of the Diamondbacks farm system, was then a manager for the Diamondbacks for a brief time, has been a general manager, and now a skipper once again. Shift is on for Seager. RBI chance here with 2 outs. Deduno has already walked 1 here in the first. He walked Jackson on 4 pitches. Now has a 3-ball count to Seager. Deduno seeing a lot of lefties in the lineup tonight. 6 in fact. And 4 in a row. It starts with Seager. The 3-1. Altuve, backhand pick. And the Mariners strand runners on the corners. We're through 1/2 inning. Mariners can't score. We go to the bottom of the first. The Astros coming up. Roenis Elias getting set for his second start here of 2015. Pitched well his last time out. Pitching for the first time here in downtown Houston, Texas at Minute Maid Park, facing a red-hot Houston Astros lineup. And Mike, speaking of that, how about we take a look at it?
The lineup with some pop in it. It starts with Jose Altuve. He had the big hit in last night's ballgame. Then it's Valbuena and Springer. Gaddis, the DH, hitting cleanup. Chris Carter, 37 home runs last year, off to a slow start. He will hit fifth. Rasmus Marisny. See what he did in April. 379 batting average with 8 extra base hits and 10 RBIs for the center fielder. He will hit seventh. Then it's Castro and VR rounding out the 9 for the Astros. And for Elias last year, 10-game winner, 3.85 ERA, 143 strikeouts to 64 walks. Opponents hitting 248 against him. And the American Family Insurance defense for the Mariners, Ackley in left, Jackson in center field, Seth Smith the right fielder, Seager and Miller on the left side of the infield, Cano and Morrison on the right side. And Jesus Sucre will do the catching. Mike Zunino getting the night off.
It was Sucre who worked with Elias his last time out against the Twins. Facing a tough customer right out of the gates. And its ball went to Altuve. Well, Mike, you can break this one down for us, but most of those numbers are pretty high. Not a lot of explanation needed.
No, not really. He's just tough and he's aggressive, and you can see the pitch up and away from him is a problem. Surprised, actually, the one that's in the middle of the plate and down a little bit. He has an issue with that, but all the rest of them, the red zones, he's basically a free swinger. He can cover all the pitches, and he can hit pitches off the plate.
Had the walk-off winner last night, the first of his career. Tempered it to left.
We were talking about him before the game, Aaron, and now you see a situation where he's in a 3-0 count. This is what makes him so dangerous for me. He's not only a good hitter, but if you put him on base, he will steal bases and get himself into scoring position, so you can't afford to walk him.
And led the American League last year in steals, doing it right now again this season. Not a lot's changed. And a 4-pitch walk. Not what Elias was hoping for, to say the least. And Mike, you mentioned this earlier in his last start for Elias. We saw him have some of the problems that we were told that he had in his handful of starts with Tacoma. That is, command not great, missing up in the zone. But then it really seemed like after, say, the second or third inning in his last start, he really settled down, and that's when we saw that curveball come out and generate so many strikeouts.
I think settled down is a good way to put it, because earlier on he was up and out over the plate, and that is never good to pitch at this level like that. And I know that Lloyd had a conversation with him, and eventually he was able to get the ball down, and that's when he was really effective.
Keeping an eye on Altuve, 9 steals. This year the numbers for the Astros against left-handed pitchers like Elias are not good, and yet their record is the Astros 6-2 against southpaw starters this season, despite batting just .223. Comes home with a strike that time. And if you take out Altuve's average against left-handed pitchers this season, it's the 4th best in baseball, well over .550. The lineup that A.J. Hinch has put out tonight to face Elias, minus Altuve, which in real life you can't subtract him, batting beneath 140. So it kind of, Mike, reminds you a little bit last year of the Mariners, who had one of the best, if not the best, win-loss record against left-handed pitchers, despite having so many left-handed hitters. But just like the Astros this year, a season ago, the Mariners had dominant pitching.
Well, I think all you have to do is look at the middle of their lineup, Aaron, and without knowing where their averages are, you would guess that they would do well against left-handers, with Springer third, Gaddis the cleanup hitter, and Carter, who hit 37 homers last year. But they're all off to slow starts, and they really haven't done much damage. So I think that's the reason why the numbers are as bad as they are right now. I expect those numbers to pick up over the course of the summer. Too many good right-handed hitters in their lineup.
Full side there on Altuve. That's the kind of scary thing right now about the Astros, to your point, Mike, is that a lot of their hitters are off to slow starts, and yet they're the hottest team in baseball. They've won 11 of their last 12 games, and they're in first place by 4 games in the West.
Pitching and defense is what's carried them.
Now Elias making sure Altuve doesn't get far off the plank there at first. Cano drifts out, tiptoes into shallow right field for out number 1. That'll bring in Springer. And of course, the Mariners called up Roenis Elias because Hisashi Iwakuma is on the disabled list for right lat strain. And Lloyd said earlier today that things are going well with Iwakuma. Playing long toss right now, but still, in Lloyd's words, Hisashi about 3 to 4 weeks away. Elias, 26 years old, out of Guantanamo, Cuba. Mike referenced his numbers last year, but important to keep in mind, despite that phenomenal season for him a year ago, tonight marks only his 31st career major league start. This is something that Rick Waits has talked about, the Mariners pitching coach. You don't necessarily have to be young in terms of your date of birth to be a young pitcher. Elias, like Paxton, both 26 years old, but neither one, Mike, in the landscape of a full career has really much experience. A season for Elias.
Well, no, you're absolutely right, and you hope that they gain. Every year they're going to get better, and they gain something for it. He did win 10 games last year, and that's making the jump from Double-A. I like the fact here in the first inning that he is using his changeup and his curveball. Keep the Astros off balance. They're a young club. They like to hit the fastball, especially in hitters' counts.
Rick Waits looking on. Altuve at first with the 4-pitch walk. For Elias, tonight marks his 3rd career start against the Astros. He's pitched well against Houston. 2 earned runs and just over 11 innings worth of work. Inside, 2-2. It was an absolutely remarkable month of April for the Astros. This is the latest that Houston has been in first place in the division since May 22nd of 2004. 2-2 grounded foul. You can see the last dozen games. Mike, a lot of things going right for the Astros.
No, I agree. And the biggest one is the wins, the 11 wins out of the 12 games. Average-wise, doing okay there. Average with runners in scoring position. I think the big one is you look at the slugging percentage, but it's their pitching again. It's the pitching that is just what a difference it's been for them. And they're 3rd in defense right now.
No, you're right.
And this is another good example of why it's not a good idea to walk Altuve. He takes so much of your energy trying to keep him close at first. And now all of a sudden you have the guys in the middle of the lineup that they're looking to do some damage. And if you get distracted too much with Altuve at first, you make a pitch in the middle of the plate and they hurt you.
Foul once again. You're saying that Altuve doesn't exactly help Rob Manfred, the new commissioner, with pace of play. When you put him on at first base, takes a lot of attention.
He does, and I don't blame Elias at all. And most of the throw, when he's throwing over, that's probably coming from the dugout. I don't blame any of him for that because he's so good at stealing bases. You have to pay attention to him. But the problems start when he's at the plate and putting him on, so you really have to stay away from that.
You saw right there nearly an 80% success rate. Big swing and a miss. Elias picks up his first strikeout, gets him with a fastball.
It's a good elevated fastball right after the changeup. 82-mile-an-hour changeup. Springer pulls it foul, and then he throws the fastball at 92 at the top of the strike zone, and he swings underneath it.
Astros leading baseball in strikeouts. In steps Evan Gattis. Gattis has had a rough go this year with left-handers, 2 for 20. And gets behind the count right away. Astros began this season losing 5 of their first 8. They've gone on to win 12 of their last 14. And Gaddis against the ropes at 0-2. You can see in first place, and it's not close. If you go back to the start of 2013 when the Astros joined the American League, they have struck out at least 10 times in 45% of their games played. 10 or more punch-outs, pushing half of their games.
I think what's interesting is you look at the strikeout numbers, and they're, as you mentioned, far out ahead of everybody else. They're also second in walks. That is strange.
AJ Hinch talked about this the other day, and his theory on that is the book on Astros hitters is that, hey, if you get them behind, you can start to nibble a little bit outside the zone, get them to chase, and then you do that a little too much, and all of a sudden they start racking up some walks. The 0-2. Clock left field. Ackley looking up. Gone. Elias had him 0-2 with 2 outs. First home run given up by the Mariners starters in the last 5 games.
Well, it's just too good a pitch. They want the breaking ball. You can see Sucre trying to get his glove on the ground, but instead Elias leaves it up just above the knees on the inner half of the plate, and Gaddis makes him pay for it. Sucre clearly wanted him to bounce that breaking ball in an 0-2 count.
Didn't take long. Strike 1 to Carter. The Mariners led in last night's ball game, or were tied until the very final swing. That's the first time that they had trailed in this road trip after a 3-game sweep in Texas, where things went so well for the Mariners. And this year, when the Astros have grabbed the lead, they have been tough. The Astros have not lost a game this season when they have led at any point. Long run for Logan Morrison. Lobo tracking it, and he can't put the squeeze on it. Covered a lot of ground.
Well, with Carter hitting, Seth Smith is way over in right center field, and as you mentioned, Logan having to cover a lot of ground. It looks as if it hits off the heel of his glove and then just rolls right out the webbing of it.
A rare miscue by Logan Morrison at first base. He's played so well there this season. And last.
Elias now at 21 pitches here in the first.
No error on the play. Has 2 strikes against Carter. Since the beginning of 2013, only 5 players in Major League Baseball have more home runs than the man at the plate right now, Chris Carter. And they're all guys that you would expect. Chris Davis, Nelson Cruz, Miguel Cabrera, Edwin Encarnacion, and David Ortiz. Those were the only 5 with more home runs since the year the Astros joined the American League. Sucre on the patrol, but into the seats. And the pitch count goes up by 1 more on Elias.
Now they're giving him a workout. See what Carter has done in the last 5 years. That is a lot of home run production. Batting average down every year, but he can hit it in the seats. And will also strike out quite a bit.
He and Stanton both hit 37 last year. Cruz with 40. And you mentioned the strikeouts, Mike, and that's the other part of that discussion. Only 5 players have more home runs in baseball since 2013. No batter has more strikeouts than Chris Carter. Seventh pitch of the at-bat coming up. Rolls over it. Seager there for out number 3. So the Astros done here in the first, but they grabbed 2 runs. Evan Gattis, his 3rd home run of the season. We go to the second. Astros on top. As we go to the top of the second. And kids, you'll want to be at Safeco Field on Sunday, May 10th for Robinson Cano Wristband Day, courtesy of Aquafina. All kids in attendance for the Mariners-A's game on May the 10th will take home a pair of these Robinson Cano wristbands. For tickets, just go to mariners.com. And steps Logan Morrison to begin things against Samuel DeDuno, the right-hander, here in the second. Mike, we were talking about early averages in the month of April and how much they can shift one way or the other.
Right.
Lomo, last 3 games, 5 hits, and his average has been buoyed by just about 50 points.
And that's the thing that you have to keep telling yourself when you are going through your struggles, is that it really doesn't take, it takes a good 3, 4, 5 days, which all these guys are certainly capable, and you can get it back to where it's manageable. It may not be where you want it, Aaron, but at least it'll be manageable at that point. And then you try to build off of that.
Lomo keeps it 0-2. And we've said this before, but at least from the outside looking in at Logan Morrison over the first month of the season, he has handled his rough luck about as good as you could expect a player to do.
I think that he has too. You see frustration every now and then, but nothing that is so outwardly out there where it affects his teammates or anybody else.
And Lomo caught looking. Slow breaking ball. Logan down on strikes to begin the top of the second.
Really set up on the outside corner. It pretty much ends up middle in.
First strikeout for DeDuno. Now facing Brad Miller. Miller hitting up in the order a little bit lately, batting 7th tonight. Same story from last night. Fantastic month of April for Brad.
And I think it was important for him to get off to a solid start. Young player and had his struggles last year. Was able to get things turned around at the end of the season. And I know he learned a lot from him. But conversations I've had with him, he certainly learned a lot. And I think, though, you can take a lot of that pressure off by getting off to a good start. And Brad has been able to do that, even though he'll go down swings. A couple of strikeouts here for DeDuno in the second.
Yeah, it looked like the curve that time. 3 pitches, all strikes.
And it is 80-mile-an-hour breaking ball. He swings right over the top of it.
DeDuno did not strike out a man in the first. He has found the first 2 to begin the second. Now facing Dustin Ackley. That is the first ball of the inning. 9 straight strikes to begin things for DeDuno here in the second. Until that. Backhand stab. Chris Carter. DeDuno at first. And a 9-pitch inning for Sam DeDuno in the spot start. Expected to go only about 4 innings, and that'll help his cause. We're through 1.5. Astros take a 2-0 lead at the bottom of the second. Park, the roof is open here tonight. Game 2 of this 4-game series against the first place Houston Astros as we take a look at our Delta Airlines keep climbing standings, Mike, and well, nobody hotter than the Astros and the Mariners going to Anaheim next, a game behind the Angels.
Well, you certainly would like to see the Mariners pick things up in this series. They are here. It's a 4-game series. They dropped the first game. But then you have the Angels right in front of you, and just start moving up the list there, and you'll be okay.
Have to feel good about the final 2 games in the series, just like tonight, as we'll have a chance to see Taijuan Walker tomorrow night. Tough matchup though against Colin McHugh. First pitch strike into Rasmus, and then Jay Happ, who has been exceptional so far this year, 2 runs or less in each of his first 4 starts, all quality starts. He'll pitch in the finale. Last night, it was Colby Rasmus who really changed that 10th inning in a negative way for the Mariners. A pinch hitter for Robbie Grossman with Gonzalez at second base and 1 out, and it was a walk to Rasmus, which made the Mariners have to pitch to Altuve.
That's exactly right. I think if they get Rasmus to put the ball in play and retire him, even if the runner advances, I think they're just going to put Altuve on. Won a batting title last year, and he's off to just a torrid start this year. He's so hot. I can't remember the last time I've seen a player as hot as he's been. What is it now? 8 or 9 games in a row with multiple hits. He had 3 of them last night. 8 games. So he's not only a good hitter, but he's really hot right now. They certainly did not want to pitch to him, but didn't have much choice.
And that was the case. 2-2 to Rasmus, the former Cardinal, the former Blue Jay as well. Rasmus really a guy that you figure primed for a bounce back year. Hardly played at all in September last season for the Blue Jays as they went the way of younger players up in the minors. As Elias gets a really funky, ugly swing there from Rasmus. And that'll be strikeout number 2 tonight for Roenis.
Was able to throw the breaking ball off the plate away. And a weak wave from Rasmus. Was completely fooled on the pitch. Dropped down on him a little bit.
A strikeout to Springer in the first. Now Rasmus to begin the second. And here comes Marisnick. left field. Ackley can only watch it fly out of the ballpark. Two screamers over the fence and left. A couple of home runs given up by Elias over the last four batters faced, and Marisnick makes it 3-0 Astros.
That's what the Astros do. They came into this game leading the league in home runs with 29. Now 31 home runs on the board for the Astros. This is a line drive. Both of them line drives over the left field fence. That on a first pitch fastball in the middle of the plate.
Castro first pitch swinging. Miller can't get there. One out single. Now, something the Mariners rotation have been doing such a fine job of the last 5 games, where they have an ERA of under 2. No home runs given up by a Mariners starter each of the last 5 starts. Of course, that includes the previous start from Elias. But he's given up 2 early tonight as Jesus Sucre out to have a quick word.
Well, I think what Elias is finding out is he's going to have to use his changeup and his breaking ball early in the count. He can't just throw first pitch fastballs. This is an aggressive swinging team. They're a young team and they want to hit the fastball. If you locate it well, you should be okay.
First time that Elias has given up 2 home runs since July 4th of last year on the south side of Chicago against the White Sox. So it has not happened much. The Yar a weak wave. He's behind 0-2.
And you can see just guessing fastball way out in front of the curveball in the dirt.
The Yar has not played since a few days ago in San Diego near the end of the Astros' very successful West Coast road trip to Seattle, Oakland, and then against the Padres. Over Miller into left field. Castro holds up at second. And 3 straight hits after Rasmus began the inning striking out. A home run, now a couple of singles. So 1 out, 2 on as we look ahead to tomorrow. And Mike, well, they are all highly anticipated from Taijuan Walker, as we have seen him the last couple of times out be very aggressive with that fastball.
And that's what he wants to be. I had a good conversation with Taijuan today, and we talked a little bit about his outing tomorrow, but just basically how things have gone for him this year, and we will have that for you tomorrow in the pregame show. So looking forward to seeing the way he attacks these hitters.
The singing lefty Rick Waits out to talk things over with Elias and Sucre.
Well, Elias will have his work cut out for him. Back to the top of the lineup in Altuve.
Altuve riding a 9-game hitting streak. 20 hits in those 9 games. 7 of them for extra bases. He's driven in a dozen. And he has absolutely torched the Mariners since the Astros came in the division. 1 out, 2 on. No surprise for his pitch swinging, but a foul ball. In fact, no player has more hits against the Seattle Mariners since the Astros came in the division than the man at the plate right now, Jose Altuve, and it's by a decent margin. Altuve, 57 hits against the Mariners in 42 games. The next man behind him, last year's MVP, Mike Trout. And Elias gets ahead of him quickly, 0-2. Batting champ last year.
Again, that speaks to their pitching. They scored more than 4 runs. Their pitching has been able to hold on to it, and 13-0 record.
One of the best bullpens early on in the American League. Backs him up. One thing that's so incredible when you look at what Altuve did last year in what was just a remarkable season. He led the major leagues in multi-hit games. Of course, as Mike said, he has 8 straight multi-hit games entering tonight. He had 69 multi-hit games last year, most in the majors. Mike, he had 31 games without a hit. So nearly 70 games with 2 hits.
That's amazing.
31 games without a hit. Over twice as many. Altuve walked and scored back in the first. He came home on the Evan Gattis home run. Miller right there. On to Cano. To first base, and Logan Morrison in time. Roenis Elias gets a ground ball double play, and that gets the Mariners out of the second. We go to the third. Mariners trying to come back early. No, there's no doubt about it, Jen. As Jesus Sucre leads things off. Mariners trying to come from behind. Early 3-0 lead by the Astros. And it's 0-2 quickly to Sucre. And Mike Zunino below tonight getting a little bit of a breather.
Yeah, you mentioned earlier too, Sucre was able to catch Elias in his first outing. That went well, so I'm sure that had something to do with it. But Mike has been out there every day.
Yeah.
And I think Lloyd's trying to find ways to give him a day off here and there. And he decided he would run Sucre out there with Elias again tonight.
And you say that Zunino has been out there every day, and that's a literal fact. He has played in every game this season, even games that he hasn't started. When Sucre has been the starting catcher, Mike has come off the bench for various reasons. The 1-2 to Sucre. And it gets him looking. Third strikeout from Duduno. Well, we take a look now at our Geico this date in history. Nolan Ryan, most no-hitters in the history of the game, his 7th and final one. 16 punch-outs against the Blue Jays. And, of course, Nolan Ryan now an executive with the Houston Astros. An advisor to Jim Crane. Nolan making his home in the Austin area. So he's not here at the ballpark on a regular basis, but he's very involved with what Houston is doing, and a revival of Astros baseball. And Mike, we were talking about it earlier. 7 no-hitters, the most by any pitcher, even more than Sandy Koufax. He had 12 one-hitters, which is amazing. That close a dozen other times.
You wonder how many times that one hit came late in the ball game when it looked as if he was going to get another no-hitter.
Brian, 27 years in the majors. His number retired here inside Minute Maid Park. And you look at those one-hitters, and something that's so fascinating about it, his first one-hitter, and Smith down on strikes, came in 1970, Mike. His last one came in 1990. There's some serious longevity there, is the point.
There is. And people in Seattle probably remember his career ended on the mound in the Kingdom.
That's right. Did Jay Buhner have something to do with that?
Not that I can remember. I know that he was on the mound and Dan Howitt hit a home run off of him. Dave Magadan, who we had just seen, was at the plate, I believe. And yours truly was standing on deck.
Really?
And it was going to be my first at bat against him. I was so looking forward to it.
You scared him, Blow?
No, I don't think so.
Ball and a strike.
The amazing thing about it is he ended up, I think it was his elbow, ended up blowing out his elbow. And he walked off the mound only like Nolan Ryan could walk off the mound.
And how's that?
Well, if you didn't know that he had hurt his arm, you would have never known by the way he walked off the mound. Because, you know, Nolan Ryan, I used to look at him and love the way he would just stand on the mound when he would look in to get the signs. And he had a certain attitude about the way that he pitched that was, I thought, was awesome.
Hall of Famer. Jay Buhner has a story about being in the batter's box to start an inning, and after Nolan's final warm-up toss, Ryan would walk about midway towards the batter's box and he would say under his breath, "Don't you dare bunt on me."
Not that Jay would.
Right, yeah, he's not exactly the usual suspect for that. 2-2. And the count stays put. Of course, Ryan, for so many years, part of some glory years in Arlington, not far away with the Rangers, getting to World Series in back-to-back seasons. But then leaving the Rangers, coming here to Houston. His son, the president of the team, Reed Ryan. And that family also the owner, part of the ownership group for a couple of minor league teams, Round Rock Express, Rangers AAA club in the Austin area, also the Corpus Christi Hooks, the Astros AA team in South Texas.
Austin Jackson having a good at bat. One of the 2 base runners the Mariners have had, and they walked his first time up, was able to steal second, and had 3 hits last night with a couple of stolen bases. Coming into the game against Deduno, he's a .357 hitter.
Ball 4. Lengthy at bat there. 8 pitches for Austin Jackson. A 2-out walk. So he sees ball 4 for the second time tonight. Two outs, 1 on for Robinson Cano. Mariners is trying to chip away at this early 3-0 lead by the Astros. All 3 runs coming on 2 homers, Gaddis and then Marisnik. Larry Vanover is tonight's home plate umpire, and if you haven't been able to tell already, he has a very delayed strike 3 call. In his 23rd year, very experienced umpire. Last year was a big year, though, for Vanover, as Cano has a quick talk.
I'm wondering if he felt that he ended up getting a piece of the glove of Castro's glove on the swing. Turned around and immediately started having a conversation with Vanover.
Yeah, that was quick. Pitch out. Jackson at first base. But last year Vanover made some history. He was the first umpire with the very first call in history of expanded replay. He was at the Replay Operations Center in New York. He confirmed an out at first base on opening day. So he's in the history books. And then his season ended. He was the home plate umpire for Derek Jeter's final game of his career, which was at Fenway Park. So what a way to start and then finish a season as an umpire. 1-2 to Cano. And the count stays put. Deduno faced the minimum in the second on only 9 pitches. Struck out the first 2 men here in the fourth. Then the walk to Austin Jackson has kept this inning alive for Cano. There goes Jackson. And the 20th pitch of the inning for Deduno was spoiled foul. Cruz would be next. Castro set up outside, and that's high and wide. 2-2.
Right here, Sam. Come on, Sam.
Now, Deduno has been tough against the Mariners over the course of his career. He entered tonight having allowed only 2 earned runs over his last 25 innings against Seattle, with 23 strikeouts in that span. Of course, those numbers date back to his times in the rotation with the Mets, with the Twins. Line drive through the right side. Jackson quickly to second. Jackson hits the bag at third. Donnelly waving him home. Cano to second base. And with 2 outs, the Mariners are on the board here in the third. Nice battle with Robinson, Cano, and Deduno. Cano wins it. And the Mariners trail by 2.
The battle started with Jackson. At an 8-pitch at bat, ended up working a walk, and he's on the move with this pitch. I wasn't sure he was going to be able to score if Springer was able to cut it off and keep it from getting to the wall. But Donnelly, the third base coach, being aggressive, sends him. Poor throw, missed your cutoff man, and Jackson ends up scoring easily, and Cano gets into scoring position.
Second hit tonight off of Deduno, the first for extra bases. Comes at the right time. Ball 1 to Cruz. Now once again they shift for Nelson Cruz. We saw that last night. Waits back on it, but a chopper, deep hole. Villar, long throw, picked by Carter at first base in time. Cruz almost legged it out. Cano stranded, but he brings home Austin Jackson, so the Mariners on the board and trail it by 2. Fernando Rodney bobblehead night, and this beauty is presented by Root Sports as the Mariners take on the A's. The first 20,000 fans received this collectible bobblehead of the Mariners closer. Get your tickets at mariners.com. Fernando with 7 saves so far this season. Well, Mike, it's a lonely job, but somebody's got to do it. Pretty nice view of the ballpark. From the train high above, well, right now, left center field.
He was having a good time up there last night. He was up there dancing, having a good time.
First pitch to Valbuena, a strike. What have you seen, Mike, from Elias the first 2 innings? Has been roughed up by those 2 homers, of course.
Well, the second home run was on a first pitch fastball. He just threw it in the middle of the plate. So the aggressive hitting by Marisnik was the difference there. And I think sometimes you just have to accept that that's going to happen from time to time. I thought that where he made the mistake was to Gaddis. He had him 0-2. You can see Sucre, he wanted him to take the curveball and throw it in the dirt, throw it down out of the strike zone, and he ended up leaving it middle in just above the knees. And that's the one I'm sure that he is probably disappointed with or would like to have back.
Yeah, 2 strike, 2 out pitch for a guy who strikes out in Gaddis.
But a 0-2 count.
Right.
So you had room to throw the ball in the dirt a couple of times if you wanted to, and he wasn't able to get it there, and Gaddis made him pay for it.
Broken back, little flare. Ackley has to play it on a skip. Valbuena the other way.
This is a 91-mile-an-hour fastball, trying to get it to the outside corner. Pretty good pitch. Elevated it a little bit. There's a reason why he was able to hit it in the air, but he breaks his bat off the end of the bat.
Little bat flip by Valbuena there in that opposite field single. First pitch Springer's way. Mike, we were talking last night about how George Springer first saw Torrey Hunter play when Hunter was suited up in Double-A for the New Britain Rockcats. Springer from New Britain, Connecticut, and loved his style even as a minor leaguer. And Springer has since idolized Torrey Hunter, not a bad guy to look up to if you're a young or even experienced big leaguer. And he said that the best advice that Torrey Hunter gave him when they had a chance to meet a couple of seasons ago in spring training was that you're going to struggle. And even if you're 0 for 4, you have to play the outfield, in their case, like you're 4 for 4. Pretty good advice.
It's great advice.
Another look to first.
A couple of good changeups from Elias to get ahead of him.
Springer a strikeout on a fastball back in the first. Of course, Springer and Brad Miller, very good friends. Springer and Miller played together, Team USA in college. Springer at UConn, Brad at Clemson. They trained together last offseason in Florida for about a month. Two and two. Sucre keeps it in front of him, a full count to Springer. And he's another guy you don't like to have on the base paths. Springer with 8 steals on the season, but a roadblock at first in Valbuena.
And that's Gaddis waiting on deck. He has already homered, a 2-run homer in the first inning. So far, Elias has not thrown Springer a fastball in this at bat. Been 1 breaking ball and the rest changeups.
Payoff pitch, gets him fishing after it.
Stayed with it. Another changeup in the dirt.
Third punch out for Owen. It's Elias tonight as we take a glance at our Sleep Country USA calendar. Mariners playing tonight, game 2 of this 4-game series in Houston. Then it's off to Anaheim. Then a day off at home before a nice lengthy homestand. We'll have a chance tomorrow night to see Taijuan Walker And then Jay Happ in the finale on Sunday. So Springer has fanned twice, and here is Gaddis, the man who punished a 2-run homer his last time up. One thing Elias has done a fine job of tonight, first pitch strikes 10 in a row, including this at-bat with Gaddis.
After the first pitch fastball to Marisnik was hit out of the ballpark, he's really done a good job of throwing his off-speed pitches, especially his changeup early in the count. He's trying to mix things up with the Astros.
The 0-2, 1-2. Now, Gaddis has been the run producer for the Astros in this series so far. Granted, tonight just game 2. Last night, Gaddis drove in 2 of the Astros' 3 runs. Tonight, 2 of the Astros' 3 runs. Has 2 strikes against him once again. Fly ball punished left field by the pole. And that was close.
Well, Gaddis was able to hit a breaking ball out his first time up, and this is another off-speed pitch, 79 miles an hour.
So the count stays 1-2. Valbuena at first. Mike, what do you make of the stats from Evan Gaddis when you talk about power hitters, and Gaddis fits in that mold? You think about an upright stance. When you look at Nelson Cruz, has that very tall, slightly open stance, and Gaddis completely hunched over.
No batting gloves, hands are low, hunched over, as you mentioned, Aaron. Not much of a stride at all. And I think when you look at most guys with power, and you mentioned Nelson Cruz, more upright, they want to use the leverage that they have. But not Gaddis. He's just strong, and he's just trying to get the barrel to it. He thinks that's going to be good enough.
Pretty double play. Miller starts it, and that'll do it for the Astros to be in the 3rd inning. We go to the 4th. Mariners down by 2. All right, a double dip sounds good. Astros leading the Mariners by 2 as we begin the 4th. That's where Kyle Seager leads off. Ground out his last time up to in the 1st inning. Well, good news recently in the Seager family, as Kyle's younger brother, Corey Seager, who just turned 21 a handful of days ago, was called up to AAA in the Dodgers system today. Seager, one of the top prospects in all of baseball, and a top prospect for the Dodgers. Tall shortstop. And Corey Seager was phenomenal in AA, Mike. He hit .275 for the Tulsa Drillers, and his manager for the Tulsa Drillers, one of the best names in the history of baseball, former Montreal Expo, Razor Shines, a guy I know you know a little bit.
Razor was actually a teammate of mine. His college is hard, but right at Altuve. He was a teammate of mine when we were both in AAA Indianapolis, which at the time was the AAA team for the Expos. And he could have been mayor there. I think he played 4 years there, maybe
really?
even more. Sure, fans loved him. Razor Shines.
Razor Shines.
Great name.
Phenomenal name.
Yeah.
And the irony of it is that he had a beard, did he not?
He did not have a beard.
I've seen pictures with him with a beard.
Maybe he had a beard.
Maybe just not in his Indianapolis days.
No, he had a mustache.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, that counts.
Razor Shines.
Only played in really just a handful of games in the big leagues with the Expos, less than 70. But he's known as one of the best names ever. Logan Morrison to center field. Marisnick on the move back. Has to play it off the wall. And Logan Morrison, an extra base hit. He steams it to second base, puts it on the turn. And Logan Morrison slides into third base. He's safe.
We were talking about Logan in last night's game. He had 4 hits to finish up things in Arlington, Texas against the Rangers in the finale. And I said it would be important for him to get a hit last night. He was able to do that in his last at bat. And this ball is drilled. It's a line drive all about 400 feet away. And right there when he saw the bobble, he decided he was going to go for third. Pretty good relay, but he's still able to get in there. He's watching the play in front of him. And right there he makes up his mind that he's going to go. And that should make Brad Miller's job a little bit easier. And with the Astros up a couple of runs, they'll play their infield back.
Strike 1 to Miller. Not many 3-base hits for Logan Morrison. Plenty of doubles, though. Quickly 0-2 on Miller. So far on this road trip, Miller just 2 for 10, but he's drawn 3 walks. He's been on base 5 times. He represents the tying run. Weak ground ball, third base, gobbled up. And there is out number 2.
And now they will need a clutch base hit from Dustin Ackley, who is due up. Pretty good play by Balbuena at third.
Yeah, played that on a low skip. Trying to bring home Lomo at third base. It's up to Ackley.
Mariners tonight 1 for 4 with runners in scoring position in there, and this is something now that the first month is behind them. They're going to have to do a better job hitting just .213 overall with runners in scoring position. So as a club, they're going to have to pick that number up.
Inside to Ackley. And so far this series 5 for 17. With runners in scoring position. So just one of those hits has brought home a run. So a lot of infield singles last night. On both sides, actually. 2 outs and 2 strikes to Ackley, trying to break out of a bit of a rut. 5 for his last 40, including tonight, spanning 15 games. Has put in a lot of work with Howard Johnson after he was off for almost the majority of the Texas series. Those 3 games in Arlington before coming here to Houston. Rolls over it, 2 out Tuve. Easy play there for the second baseman. And the Mariners strand Lomo's triple with 1 out at third base. On to the bottom of the 4th, Astros by a pair. Shows a couple of early home runs tonight.
Well, they're first in the American League in home runs. They came into the game with 29. That right there, the 30th home run for the Astros. And then Marisnik jumps on a first pitch fastball. So the Astros with 3 runs, a 2-run homer by Gaddis, and then Marisnik in a solo shot.
And that's a quick at bat for Marisnik. And Elias on to work things in the bottom of the 4th. He'll face Chris Carter to begin things.
See, Elias has had to work hard through the first 3 innings, 56 pitches.
Elias threw 105 in his season debut on Sunday against the Twins. He almost pitched a full 6 innings, but lost a lengthy battle to the last man that he faced. Only went 5 2/3 instead. And he starts Carter off with a strike. When the Mariners last saw the Astros, Chris Carter was one of the most slumping early hitters in the American League. He was 3 for 42 to begin the season, but has since really begun to heat up. 9 hits his last 9 games, and 2 of those hits never came back. Still 0-2. Making a ball and 2 strikes now to Carter. We saw Carter last night make a spectacular diving catch, headlong dive in towards home plate about midway down the first base line late in the game. And we weren't used to seeing that type of athleticism from Carter. We got the start at first. And Elias gets him looking. Carter's first strikeout. And the 4th tonight by Roenis Elias. Well, keep your eye on the bus. Follow us from a safe distance on Twitter at Sound Transit. Fourth punch out for Roenis, now facing Colby Rasmus. Big swing and a miss for strike one. Rasmus, a strikeout victim back in the second. Rasmus, a one-time high prospect in the Cardinals farm system, as former Mariner draft pick Josh Shields begins to loosen up in the bullpen. Shields began the season on the disabled list, has since been activated. 3 pitches, all strikes. Colby Rasmus caught looking, so back-to-back punch-outs for Elias to start the bottom of the fourth.
We can see how different the at-bats are from the Astros now that Elias is mixing in all of his pitches. Another off-speed pitch as he gets him looking on the inside corner. He wanted that pitch on the outside half, but I think because he's throwing more of his off-speed pitches, it's making his fastball more effective.
Elias has fanned 3 of the last 5 men dating back to the last inning. One and one.
And there's the changeup. Marisnick was the one that hit the first pitch fastball out for a home run. And a good changeup right off the outside corner.
That home run from Marisnick was his 3rd on the season. Player the Astros got last year from Miami in a trade. Garrett Cosart, former starter for Houston, now a Marlin. You look up and down this Astros lineup, very athletic lineup, and Marisnick a big part of that. A guy who was recruited out of high school by the University of Oregon as a wide receiver. And he draws ball 4, 2-out walk. Two outs, 1 on for Jason Castro, the Astros number 8 hitting catcher. Castro, just like his manager, A.J. Hinch, a product of Stanford. Hinch had a phenomenal career as a catcher for the Cardinal. 3-time All-American, 2-time Pac-10 Player of the Year. Taking over for Bo Porter this season in Houston. Runner takes off. Throw down to second base, and it's high and wide. Marisnick is in safely.
I think if you're a base stealer, the best thing to do if you get picked off like Marisnick did is just keep running. So many times you'll see the runner try to get it in a rundown, and that typically does not work. I think you have a better chance if you continue to run and the throw a little bit high into second base. Brad not able to get the tag down in time.
So runner in scoring position with 2 outs. Castro looks at a strike. Elias at 70 pitches now. Gets the corner.
Castro didn't like it, but it's a perfect pitch. On the outside corner and at the knees. Take a look at it. You can see Sucre set up right there. It gives Larry Vanover, the home plate umpire, a really good look at that strike.
One and 2. Elias trying to finish off Castro here with 2 outs. Marisnik at second. And Castro just fights it off. It was a few years ago that Castro suffered a devastating knee injury in spring training, had to miss the entire year. And to his credit, put in a lot of work, came back strong. An all-star 2 years ago for the Astros. Former first-round pick by Houston. Big rip and a miss as Elias blows it past him. And for Roenis Elias, that is his 6th strikeout through 4 innings, and he strands a runner at second base. We're off to the 5th. Astros by Root Sports is brought to you by the Rock Wood-Fired Kitchen, Pizza, Burgers, Spirits, by the Grand Puyallup RV Show April 30th through May 3rd, and by BNSF Railway, sponsor of the BNSF Blast. Good look there at downtown Houston, Texas. Tonight the Mariners are in the middle of Game 2 of this 4-game series against the first-place Astros. Captain Deduno, Mike Dunn for the night, a spot start or taking over for an injured starter, Wojciechowski, and we knew we wouldn't go all that deep tonight.
Not always an easy thing to do, but he pitched well. 4 innings, 3 hits, 1 run it was earned. Couple of walks, 4 strikeouts. He threw 61 pitches, but a good outing for him.
Josh Fields pitching the 5th, facing Jesus Sucre.
Just an inning in the 3rd for him so far. A couple of strikeouts, 1 walk.
Fields started the season on the disabled list, so you can see has not pitched much yet here in the big leagues. Former Rule 5 pick from Boston. Of course, a one-time first-round pick by Seattle. But then he made his way over to the Red Sox system. And then after a strong season with their AAA club in 2012, was taken in the Rule 5 draft by the Astros. One-time closer in college, University of Georgia. Fields' delivery over the years has become a little less violent, but there was a time in his life where his delivery was very Lincecum-esque. A little guy like Lincecum and a huge windup, and almost looked like he was about to break every time he threw a pitch home.
He still has a good fastball. That last fastball was 95 miles an hour on the outside corner.
Sucre stays alive.
96 with that one.
He can run it up there.
Larry Vanover, so he wants to look at the ball.
And why would that be?
Not sure.
Mariners hitting coach Howard Johnson. Rick, what do you think? You ever seen that before, Mike?
Yeah, from time to time, if they bounce the pitch, but the catcher catches it cleanly, and then the catcher will throw it back, and the umpire will throw the ball out. Or, yeah, I've seen it before. I didn't notice that happening, so I'm not sure. And I didn't see Sucre say anything to Larry Vanover about it.
Now it's up to Zunino. Gets Sucre looking. Tough pitch there. Well, we've talked about the Astros bullpen and how it ranks in the major leagues, third in the American League so far this year, but it has been especially tough on the Mariners. 11 innings, only 1 run overall. You can see a lot of strikeouts, not many walks. But if you take that even a step further, Joe Thatcher was the first reliever from the Astros the Mariners faced this season in Game 1 of the first series against Houston back in Seattle. Thatcher gave up a run in his inning of work against the Mariners, and since then it's been 10 consecutive scoreless innings for the Astros bullpen against Mariners relievers, or Mariners hitters rather. So on a night where Duduno goes just 4 innings in the spot start, it'll be a lot of that bullpen tonight for the Mariners to face.
And we thought that was something that was going to be improved with the adjustments they made over the course of the winter. And it has bared out. Right now their bullpen ERA is 3rd in the American League.
And last year it finished dead last.
Right.
And it has been that way for a couple of seasons.
We have a long way to go, but so far here early in the season, the first month anyway, those guys out there have done their job. Not just against the Mariners, but everybody they've played.
No, you're right. Smith 0 for 2. We've seen the Mariners bullpen and the rotation really turn things around the last, say, 7 games or so. And when Lloyd was asked today how much of that has to do, the bullpen that is being better, how much that has to do with the rotation and the starters pitching deeper into games, his answer was very simple: 100%. As the count squares up to Smith.
Well, it makes sense because early in the year, Lloyd was having to bring those guys in, basically split his bullpen, so he'd have 3 guys one day, 3 guys the next day. Those guys coming in were having to pitch an inning, maybe 2 at a time. And all of a sudden you get away from where their strengths was as a bullpen, and that is Lloyd could mix and match and bring them in for a hitter, maybe 2, get them out. And that's when they're at their best, and that's what we've seen. And the only way you can do that is for the starters to get deeper, and they've certainly been much better.
Smith caught looking. Back-to-back strikeouts with bats on the shoulder to start things off the 5th. That brings it Austin Jackson. Also, some good news today. Tom Wilhelmsen threw his first bullpen session since going on the disabled list with the hyperextended elbow. And Mikey said that he really let it rip for the most part. 90 to 95% effort, 25 pitches, fastballs, sinkers. So things going in the right direction. It looks like he will have another bullpen on Sunday. And this was earlier today, a little bit before 4 o'clock.
Well, you've watched him do his flat ground work. I think it was 4 days in a row of him playing catch, and this is his first time on the mound. You can see Rick Waite's the pitching coach keeping a close eye on him. But the next step is hopefully he wakes up in the morning, feels good, no discomfort, and also that he can have his bullpen on Sunday, and then we'll eventually see him mix in that good curveball. That'll be the last test for him.
It'll be nice to get Big Tom back. Can do so much. Fields trying to strike out the side. He's a strike away. That curveball stands up tall. Mariners' lone run in this one so far came back in the third. It was Robinson Cano with an RBI double into right field. That scored Jackson, who walked with 2 outs. And he's out on strikes. Fields out of the bullpen. Strikes out the side in order here at the top of the 5th. We go to the bottom half. Astros 3, Mariners 1. Here, that is awfully good to hear. Elias facing VR. Danny, the shoulder surgery, and a complicated one at that. And for Holton, his first time pitching in the minor leagues since 2013. Former first-round draft pick by the Mariners. Second overall, in fact. That was back in 2011.
It was interesting in spring training, and we were talking about it last night with Danny, that he was able to get into a game, pitch an inning, and did extremely well. But talking to Lloyd or talking to Jag Zarenzik about him, I was wondering if maybe there was a time where we might see him. And they thought the best thing for him was to get to the minor leagues, and as we mentioned, he had a chance to pitch. And it didn't sound like they were really interested in bringing him because they wanted to get him healthy first. Get him healthy. Don't put that kind of pressure on him. Let him work his way to it. And so we'll see how things go for him over the course of the summer. But I like the fact that they took all the pressure and the want to rush him to the big leagues out of the equation.
He's got to ease it up a little bit on Danny. Takes a lot of pressure off as that pitch misses low. 2 balls and 2 strikes to VR, switch hitter, leading things off in the Astros 5th. A single back in the 2nd inning his last time up. We've seen a lot of strikeouts tonight on both sides. Punches this one into the dirt. Cano right there. Round number 1. Well, we take a look at our CenturyLink What's Next. And Mike, we were talking about this on the elevator right up to the press box earlier today. This will be a fun one tomorrow night.
I think that it will be. If you look at the way that Taijuan Walker has pitched his last 2 times out, he's been dominant. And Colin McHugh always gives the Mariners trouble. He's off to a good start this year, 3-0 record with a 2.92 ERA. A really good conversation with Taijuan today. Goes back home. We get a chance to see that tomorrow in the pregame show. But he seemed ready to go, has a good game plan, and I look forward to watching it tomorrow.
And we'll see more of this tomorrow, but you have to give us a little bit of an advance on him gripping the baseball.
Well, it was one of the things that I wanted to show people, and pitchers, they all do things a little bit differently.
Miller can't get there. Altuve's first hit tonight.
That will extend his hitting streak. And now Elias will have to pay attention to him again at first base. He will try to steal it if you don't pay attention to him. But Taijuan, I have a decent-sized hand, and Taijuan ended up getting the baseball. As we take a look at this base hit from Altuve, and I handed it to Taijuan, and it looks maybe just a touch bigger than a golf ball in his hand. But everybody will get a chance to see that tomorrow. He'll show you the way that he holds his four-seam grip, which is standard, and he throws a cutter, which I was really interested in, and he showed that in the finger pressure that he puts on it to make it cut. It's pretty interesting, and of course his curveball and changeup.
We've always known that physically Taijuan Walker is a big guy, but I remember in spring training this year, Mike, there was a moment when you were interviewing Taijuan for a pregame show, and I was standing right there. And so the two of you were shoulder to shoulder, and we all know you're a big guy, former major leaguer, of course. And what are you, Mike? 6'4"?
6'3".
6'3"?
Yeah.
And wide shoulders. And Taijuan Walker is standing shoulder to shoulder with you, and he made you look like an average-sized guy, which is not easy to do.
He is an awesome athlete, I think. If you look at him, that's one of the things that I've liked about his last couple of outings is I think if you look at him out on the mound as a hitter, he's imposing out there. And the fact that his last two outings he's made a real effort to pitch inside with his good fastball has really opened the outer half of the plate up for him, and he understands that. It's some of the things that we talked about today, but he's starting to understand it. And I talked to Rick Waits a couple of days ago about him, and he reminded me he's 22 years old. He's not going to have it all figured out right away, but what a talent he is.
Well, he's 22 years old, and he barely has 10 starts in the major leagues. Tomorrow night will be his 13th career big league start.
Right.
And about his 10th against the Astros, it seems like.
And no surprise to see him sitting right next to Mike Zunino, who will probably catch him tomorrow.
That makes sense. Altuve off with the pitch. Cano only played at first base for the second out. Well, we hope you stick around after the game for Mariners postgame presented by Delta Airlines. Have a chance to hear from Lloyd McClendon after this one's over with. Lloyd was pretty to the point last night, Mike, after the game, saying that mistakes were made and that's what cost the Mariners the game. He didn't beat around the bush.
No, he was absolutely right about that. The guy's certainly aware of it. But you can start in the first inning of the game yesterday and work your way all the way to the 10th. And there was something in a lot of those innings that did not go the Mariners' way. Some of it was fundamental things that they weren't able to get done. But the good news with that is those are things that can be fixed. And knowing Lloyd and watching the way the club improved over the course of last year, they will get those things worked out.
You know, one thing about this team and especially the coaching staff, and you can make the case that the coaching staff really sets the tone in this regard, a work ethic that cannot be topped. You'd have to think by another coaching staff in baseball. These guys are out here as early as you can imagine working on the most simple things to the most advanced.
I would agree. You see Howard Johnson or Andy Van Slyke, of course Rick Waits. They put in an awful lot of work.
Altuve at second, and Elias keeping a close eye. Elias needing one more out to send this one to the 6th. Rowenis last year had the complete game shutout on what was the gorgeous Sunday afternoon at Safeco Field against the Tigers. As Rick Waits has said, that was the best pitched game of the season last year by a Mariners starter. What was amazing about that is how quickly into his big league career Elias did that. Remember, he made the jump from Double-A to the big leagues, and in his 12th career start, he threw a complete game shutout. There's only been 2 players in franchise history throw a complete game shutout in fewer career games with the Mariners. Bob Stoddard back in '82. Matt Young did it twice in '83. And ball 4 to Springer. So a 2-out walk keeps the 5th alive for the Astros.
And it's too bad that Elias didn't get the call on that last pitch. It was a changeup, and they had a piece of the outside corner, but Larry Vanover ended up calling it a ball. But a good pitch from Elias.
Pitch count getting up there a little bit. 90 pitches now. 4 2/3 innings in. Facing Gaddis for the 3rd time.
Nobody throwing in the Mariner pen. For Elias in his first outing, he threw 105 pitches.
So we know he can get to the century mark. Hits the head on Gaddis. Gaddis a 2-run homer back in the first, a double play victim in the 3rd. Gaddis, a man who walked away from baseball in 2006, 4 years away from the game. Sucre trying to find it, picks it up, throw to second base. And Cano able to put a glove on it, now caught in between. Right there is Altuve. And the Mariners will get a gimme out. Altuve, a rare base running blunder. And it helps to save Elias and the Mariners as we go to the 6th. Astros by 2. Strikeouts, same story for John Fields.
Both of them picking up 3 strikeouts. For Deduno, he had to do it over 4 innings, but then Fields came in to pitch the 5th inning, and he ends up striking out the side. He had to get fastball 96 miles an hour, and he will stay on to pitch the 6th inning. So the Mariners have to find a way to scratch out a couple of runs against Fields, who obviously feels pretty good tonight, throwing 96 miles an hour.
And that was an impressive 5th for Fields, as Cano will lead things off for the Mariners in the visiting half of the 6th inning. And Fields starts him off with a strike. Well, we saw him throw 96, Mike, and they're a curve at 70 miles an hour.
Cano taking all the way. He was just trying to get ahead of him with the curveball. There is a left-hander getting loose in the pen for the Astros. Maybe just a couple more hitters for Fields.
And it's Chapman warming up. Quick roller. Altuve can't get there. Cano's 2nd hit of the night. And then we saw Altuve out at 3rd base to end the bottom of the 5th. The Astros were mounting.
He's an aggressive base runner, and once he realizes what's happening, he tried to stop and ended up slipping and falling down, and Kyle Seager will put the tag on him to end the inning. I think he would have been able to get back if he hadn't lost his footing.
And that would be it for the Astros in the 5th. Save the pitch count for Elias a little bit. Into the threat. It was interesting, Mike, hearing some comments today from Nelson Cruz when asking him about his thoughts on the Astros shifting against him, because as we talked a little bit last night, I don't see many teams shift against Nelson Cruz at all this year.
Or right-handed hitters for that matter, but we're starting to see it a little bit more often.
He said last year in September he was hitting a little bit beneath 260. He was hitting 257 to start the month, and he was pretty unsatisfied that his batting average was that low. And he said right at that time he had multiple series against the Rays, the Red Sox, and the Yankees, and the first two of those teams are really known for shifting.
Right.
And they would, all three of those teams would shift on Cruz, and he said thank you very much. He added 15 points to his average,
the other way.
hitting the ball the other way.
Yeah, we've seen him do that this year already in the first month. In fact, there he goes trying right there, but he's picked up some RBIs doing that.
And for a guy who leads the American League in slugging, only Adrian Gonzalez a higher mark in that category so far through the first month in baseball. You just don't see many power hitters that slug as much as he does able to go the other way as consciously as he's able to.
Well, and the biggest reason why is because he has power to all fields. If he gets a fastball that's middle away, he can hit it out of the ballpark. But the difference is the pitches that are borderline on the corner, maybe even just off the plate. Those are the pitches we're seeing him hit on the ground, or those little soft line drives to right.
This time really ties him up. And Cruz commits on the swing. He's down on strikes.
Well, they had been pitching him away, and you can see set up inside. Two-seam fastball ties him up. And that will be it for Fields.
Fields faces 5 batters. He strikes out 4 of them. Cano with the single, the only man to reach against Josh Fields. He's at first base. Seager due up next. Will step aside a pitching change here in Houston. Watch every out-of-market game live on demand in true HD on over 400 devices. Real-time highlights, live look-ins, pitch tracking, and more. Every night on every device. Blackout and other restrictions apply. Visit MLB.tv for more details. Nice look inside Union Station, just across the street from the ballpark here in downtown Houston. Astros taking a 3-1 lead as we step aside for a pitching change. We come back. Kyle Seager facing a new man in the form of Kevin Chapman, just called up today. Astros have their new AAA home in Fresno, where The Giants used to have their AAA affiliate in the Pacific Coast League, same league as the Rainiers.
Well, we're just talking about shifts. The Astro will shift with Kyle hitting. Kyle's grounded out to second. Altuve a couple of times tonight.
Seager, the tying run, takes first pitch high. We saw Chapman last year a little bit in the big leagues with the Astros, but this is first inning in the majors this season. One injured arm the Astros are waiting to get back is Brett Oberholzer. We saw Oberholzer last season throw a complete game shutout against the Mariners. Has a fantastic changeup. Part of the reason Duno getting the start tonight. Looks like that caught a piece of Seager's foot. You know, Mike, the Mariners have never had a third baseman with a 30-100 season. 30 home runs, 100 RBIs. You were very close, my friend.
I would have thought that Jim Presley had done it.
He was the closest. He had the RBI part, just over 100, but
didn't about get to 30 homers.
27 or 28. But you figure the man at the plate right now has as good a chance as anybody. Two and two.
Well, 25 and 96 last year, and he's improved every year. So it's pretty close right there.
You kind of think it's just a matter of this year or next. But batting behind Cano and Cruz certainly helps in the RBI department. Two guys who litter the base paths. Morrison on deck. Tripled his last time up. Full count to Seager. The opposite way, slicing. Rasmus out number 2. As always, this copyrighted telecast is presented by authority of the Seattle Mariners and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Seattle Mariners. Cano at first base, led off with a single, past the dive of Altuve. So with 2 outs, it's up to Logan Morrison.
Logan tripled his last time up, hit it over the center fielder's head at the base of the wall, about 400 feet away, and ended up with a triple.
And of course, that man in center field for the Astros, Jake Marisnick, a good friend of Logan's. They go back together during their days in the Marlins system. Although a couple of years apart, they never played together in the major leagues together. But Marisnick was in Double-A when Logan went down on a rehab, and they hit it off. So 2 very good friends now in the same division. Cano at first base with 2 outs. It was Logan who really helped give Marisnick a fantastic nickname. Marisnick went on the disabled list for some time, and the injury that he sustained, he couldn't move around that much, and as a result he gained some weight. Now, depending on who you ask, you'll learn whether it was 10 pounds or 20 pounds, but according to Lomo, it was a little closer to the 20-pound. And so Marisnick in the Marlins system, the nickname has not carried with him, was known as Big Fudge, because apparently Fudge was the reason why.
Well, since then, he's obviously dropped the weight.
He's a tremendous athlete. He worked it off. Lomo, the tying run. If you go back to that walk-off win for the Mariners, a dramatic win at home against the Rangers, since that time, the last 10 games for the Mariners, they have done almost all of their damage the first 5 innings, as you can see right there. The final 4 innings of the last 10 games, the Mariners have combined for 4 runs. There goes Cano. And a soft pop-up Easy play for Valbuena. A punch of the glove and a squeeze of the mitt. Cano stranded. And that'll wrap up the top of the 6th. We go to the Astros half. Houston still on top by 2. Way to the bottom of the 6th inning. As we go back to the Ford Sports Desk, we welcome in Bill Kruger. And Bill, you've had a chance now to watch the left-hander out of Guantanamo, Cuba, Roenis Elias, for the first 5 innings. What is your take so far tonight on Elias?
Bill, one of the things that Lloyd had talked about when the starters were struggling a bit is he said that he wanted to see them start to compete and feed off of each other. And he pointed right to Felix and the job that Jay Happ has done. Can you kind of talk about how that happens? Because right now the starters are on a pretty good run over the last week and a half. All right, Bill, thank you so much. That's good insight. As Chris Carter at the plate. Now 1-2. Whoever's Medina beginning to loosen up as Elias nearing 100 pitches. Just off the plate. We heard Bill bring up James Paxton's name, and Mike today in the clubhouse. Paxton saying far and away last night his best start, his best fastball command, curveball command too. I would agree with that. But again, it was one of those things where it's early in the year. It's that first month of the season, and
swing and a miss. Elias racks up another strikeout. And for Roenis Elias, make it 7 punch-outs here tonight in Houston. Well, the Mariners team stores are running a tremendous promotion right now. You'll receive a free Dooney and Burke Mariners cosmetic bag with a $150 merchandise purchase. The offer is good at all 5 Mariners team store locations while supplies last.
I think, though, with Paxton, it's the same as Walker had done. And that is, they slowly start to get things figured out, and you want to see them build on their previous start, is something that Rick Waits has talked about. And I think we've seen both Paxton and Walker do that. And I think that you have to be excited about these two guys with their talent alone. But when they start commanding the strike zone, we've seen what that can do and how deep they can get into games and be efficient with their pitching doing it. So it looks like the rotation has figured things out. And we talked about it earlier, certainly has helped the bullpen. So Pat Neshek will get loose in the pen for the Astros. Next pitch will be 100 for Elias.
And out away from 6 complete innings. This was the moment in his last start where he just could not finish off the final batter that he faced. He went 5 2/3. The pitch count really started to run up there. Couldn't finish off catcher Chris Herman of the Twins. A lengthy at bat, 10 pitches. But now squares it up 2-2 to Rasmus.
Well, you would think this is probably his last hitter. You have a right-handed hitter, Marisnik, waiting on deck. Medina ready to go in the pen, and he is now at 101 pitches. So I would think this is going to be his last batter.
Rasmus has already struck out twice. Elias trying to make it 3 times tonight. And he does. Gets him on the corner, and for Elias, that is his 8th strikeout. And his final pitch, you have to imagine, here tonight in Houston. Quality start for Roenis Elias as we go to the 7th. Houston, Texas. A look at the UPS weekend weather report. And, you know, Mike, there's just something about hot, muggy, and humid in Houston that just makes it feel like home.
I'm just excited that the temps are in the 80s.
That's right. Yeah, we've been here when it's been far, far more. But there is a humidity factor in Houston that makes you awfully grateful for the green of the great Northwest.
Yes.
Most of the times, they got the air conditioning pumping in this place. Miller leads things off with a swing and a miss. Chapman's still out there.
Ricky Weeks has come out on deck, so it looks like he will pinch hit for Dustin Ackland.
And Miller quickly back on his heels, 0-2. Now the Mariners just a bloop and a blast away from tying this one up. One run came on Cano's double to right field in the 3rd. That scored Austin Jackson, who got on base with a 2-out walk. And we know this much: the Mariners and close games have become a thing of the norm so far this year. 18 consecutive games decided by 3 runs or fewer, extending a franchise record by plenty. The previous record was at 13, 1979, and most recently in 2010. Strike 3 on Miller. Gets him with a breaking ball, and Brad down on strikes for the second time tonight.
Well, Chapman has shown a good fastball, and Brad trying to get out there catching up to the fastball, but he ends up getting a slider in the dirt to put him away. And Ricky Weeks will pinch hit. And looks like we're going to get a pitching change. A.J. Hinch making his way out to the mound, and we will.
And he signals for the right-hander. So Hinch will take the ball from Kevin Chapman. Chapman faces 3 men, retires. All 3 will step aside here in Houston. Astros leading it by 2. Proud to make a donation to Mariners Care with every Mariners win. By Jack in the Box, Jack's hottest sandwich is back. Head to Jack in the Box for Jack's blazing chicken sandwich. By CenturyLink, your link to what's next. And by Geico, 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance. Look at downtown Houston. Mariners tonight, game 2 of 4 with the first place Astros. And for the second straight night, we will have a look at Pat Neshek, the former All-Star with the Cardinals.
Sidearm right-hander, and he will get Ricky Weeks, who's pinch hitting for Ackley. For Pat, 8 2/3, 10 strikeouts. Hasn't walked anybody yet. Home hitting .242, has given up 3 home runs.
Strike 1 to Weeks off the bench. So Ackley finishes 0 for 2, a couple of ground ball outs. Rookie has seen Neshek during their time together in the National League. Now, Mike, he drops lower than Carson Smith, but essentially a similar effect on a right-handed hitter.
I think so. He doesn't throw nearly as hard. But again, he's just changing his arm angle. It's a different look for right-handers. You don't see it very often, so that can be a problem. The main thing is you have to stay in there on the breaking ball. He has a big sweeping slider that you have to be aware of.
As Weeks quickly behind, stays alive.
And from that arm angle, he's also going to sink the ball a little bit more. We'll take a look at the delivery. Really not much of a windup, and then he kind of jumps at you.
Once again, the 0-2 on the way to Weeks. Fights it away.
I think it actually probably takes a couple of pitches. One just to pick the ball up out of his hand from that arm angle.
Get your bearings a little bit.
Yeah, I think so.
Chopper deep. VR long throw. In time to get Ricky Weeks 2 outs. Roenis Elias tonight making his second start of the season, Mike, and was able to get a quality start.
No, I thought he pitched well, and we heard Bill Kruger talk about it. One of the few mistakes that he made was on the 0-2 breaking ball to Gaddis when he hit the 2-run home run. Other than that, he had good command. I love the way he switched things up. And midstream, they were really starting to get after his fastball, so we went to his changeup and his breaking ball a little bit more and had good command of it. But overall, I think you have to be pleased with the outing from Elias. Again, trying to give his club a chance to win. He certainly has done that. So I think it's 2 good outings in a row for him.
Well, talking about command, one thing that really stands out, Elias facing 25 batters tonight. First pitch strike to 19 of them. More times than not, got ahead of the count with the first pitch. Sucre is skipper. VR right there. And the Mariners catcher retired. It's a 1-2-3 top of the 7th for the Mariners as we stretch here in Houston. Astros still holding the lead. How about stretching your mind as you consider how a Washington's lottery win would change your bucket list? Play today. On to the bottom of the 7th inning here in Minute Maid Park. Game 2 of 4 with the Houston Astros, the first place 15-win Astros, who have won 7 in a row. And Mike, we can take a look at the night for Roenis Elias.
Another good start for him. 6 innings, 6 hits, 3 runs. They were earned. A couple of home runs is what hurt him. 3 walks, 8 strikeouts for him, though. 103 pitches, 64 of those for strikes. A lot of first pitch strikes from Elias tonight. And again, called up when Iwakuma went on the disabled list, so 2 good outings for him. Medina will take over. This will be his 11th appearance on the year. 2.70 ERA in 10 innings, 8 strikeouts, 6 walks. Opponent's hitting .250 against Medina. Has a good fastball in the mid-90s. Will also mix in a slider. Ricky Weeks will stay in the game and play left field. Pinch hit for Ackley.
So Medina to face the dangerous Marisnik, who homered on the first pitch that he saw tonight in the 2nd inning. His 3rd home run this season. Up high for ball 1. Last time we saw Medina back on the 28th in Texas, he picked up the hold, his 3rd of the year. And he was very efficient. 2 outs on 4 pitches. He stranded the tying run at first base in the 8th. Falls behind 2-0. Talked about Marisnick's home run. The Astros tied for the most home runs in the American League entering tonight. Tied with Baltimore and also the Yankees. So add 2 more to the list. The Dodgers have been a huge home run hitting team, pacing the major leagues. Two and two. High pop up. Austin Jackson full speed ahead, now slows up. Now number 1. Nice start for Medina, now facing Castro. Well, a nice night for a Mariners minor league affiliate, as not long ago the Clinton Lumber Kings throwing a 3-pitcher combined no-hitter against Cedar Rapids. So congrats to the youngsters. Mariners single A affiliate. And for the Lumber Kings, their first no-hitter since the late Victor Sanchez, who just recently passed away at the young age of 20, a tragic accident. Victor Sanchez threw a no-hitter in a Lumber Kings uniform not long ago. The 1-0. Of course, the Lumber Kings made it into Sports Illustrated last year with what was one of the most remarkable comebacks you will ever see. It was named the minor league game of the year, as they were down 17-1 about halfway through the game, and they ended up winning. High slicer to left. Weeks just off the bench in left field for out number 2. And wouldn't you know it, it was a Seager who was involved in that huge come from behind win for Clinton. It was Justin Seager who really started that. How often do you get to say this? 16-run rally.
Not very often.
Not very often at all. But he started it with a triple. One of Kyle Seager's younger brothers. We already told you earlier tonight about Corey Seager, another brother of his who just got called up to AAA today, the Dodgers' top prospect. That's a busy household, Mike. I know you've got a number of boys who play baseball, but that's a lot to keep up with. You got 3 boys, one of the majors, one in now Justin Seager's with Bakersfield, the high A affiliate. Corey over in AAA.
Well, the Seager parents are busy, and for good reason. I'm sure they don't mind it at all.
It's a lot of pocket schedules to carry with you.
It really is.
You see Chad Qualls just starting to get activated.
He has really pitched well for the Astros out of their pen.
We saw him last night, 2/3 scoreless with a strikeout. But can you imagine being a youngster in low A and getting into Sports Illustrated because of a, well, for any reason, but because of a 16-run rally? When you're buried in the depths of the Midwest League, Sports Illustrated is probably the last publication that'll be coming your way.
No, you're right.
Two outs, VR at the plate. 2-1. Will be something if all 3 Seager brothers are able to play in the major leagues at one time. Kind of makes you think of the Molina brothers, the Alou brothers.
The Alou brothers, that's right. Well, I would not be surprised if it happens. From the same family, and watching Kyle work and his work ethic and what he's turned himself into, I would imagine the brothers are probably the same way.
Yeah. Well, it will be a surprise at this pace if Corey Seager is not in Dodger blue at some point this year. Boone brothers as well. Corey Seager just turning 21 a few days ago. The 2-2 backs him away, full count. A large shadow from Jose Altuve. Medina's 3-2 pitch. Quick bouncer to Cano. Routine play. And a 1-2-3 inning spun by Yoervis Medina here in the bottom of the 7th. We're up to the 8th in Houston. Astros by 2. You have to focus your eyes on the young man in red. Right there. And you can see he says, I got the home run. But did he really? Now look at the man in gray, the gray t-shirt behind him. Now this is an experienced play by this young Astros fan. I got the ball. Well, and then a little bit of a scolding from his dad in a throwback Astros uniform. So, well, he sure made a believer out of most of us until expanded instant replay, Mike. Seth Smith leading off the 8th. One ball and 1 strike. Well, it has been tough going, just as we thought it would be for the Mariners against the Astros bullpen as Chad Qualls taking over here in the 8th. We have seen Fields, Chapman, and Neshek taking over for Samuel Deduno. We knew that Deduno would be on the shorter end of the spectrum tonight. Starting for Asher Wojciechowski, who just got sent down to AAA. Deduno went just 4 innings, but it's been a tough going 3 innings combined for Astros relievers entering this inning right now. 1 hit, 5 strikeouts.
Well, and you showed the numbers earlier, Aaron, and what the team has done from the 6th to the 9th inning over the last 10 games, and it's been difficult for them to score runs. And this is an improved Astros bullpen, so they have their work cut out for them.
And it's not a great combination. 2-2 now on Smith.
Joe Thatcher, the left-hander, getting loose.
And it was Thatcher who has given up the only run to the Mariners in this year-long series from the Astros bullpen. It's now 13 consecutive scoreless innings for the Astros bullpen against Mariners hitters. On the way, the 2-2 gets him swinging.
Take a look at this last pitch. I think it's a slider. Down and in it is. He swings over the top of it, 84 miles an hour. So, well-located breaking ball from Qualls.
Smith down on strike for the third time.
That'll bring up Austin Jackson. He's been on base a couple times with walks. Has scored the one run for the Mariners.
First pitch, a strike. Ten Mariners strikeouts tonight against Astros pitching. 6 by the bullpen. Tyler Olson beginning to stir. I'll tell you what, Mike, as the Mariners bullpen is at this stage of the season now beginning to show signs of the same bullpen we saw last year. The Mariners in this series against the Astros are kind of getting a bit of a taste of their own medicine. This is what the Astros were saying about the Mariners bullpen a season ago.
No, you're absolutely right. And then you look at the way that they've played defense, meaning the Astros early here the first month.
Good point.
They've really played good defense, which is what we've also seen from the Mariners last year. Big reason why the Mariners were able to turn things around. And we'll see if the Astros can continue to do that over the course of the summer, but it was a good first month for them.
On 2-2, a quick ground ball. Tough play. VR with some speed on the base paths, and he gets the throw there in time. I've seen VR be pretty rangy tonight.
He also has a strong arm. This is a difficult play. All of his momentum, you can see going over towards the third baseline. He has to throw it back across his body on the run. Really was able to get rid of that quickly.
Well, so far, granted, in just about 2 games that the Astros have been without Jed Lowry against the Mariners. Marwin Gonzalez last night. Now Jonathan VR tonight, filling in pretty well for Lowry, who will be out until just after the All-Star break. Had surgery on his thumb after injuring it sliding into second base. And the long-term effects of Lowry out of the lineup for the Astros will be one to really monitor. A 2-hit night for Cano. 1 ball and 1 strike. Robinson last night with 2 hits as well. It looks like he has come out of that 0 for 18 skid and really started a new trend in the right direction. Astros with the top ERA collectively among their staff in the American League. Weak ground ball. Valbuena a long way to range. And the side sat down in order for the second straight inning. And the third time in 4 frames. We go to the bottom of the 8th. Astros 3, the Mariners Sox. It is Mariners Fedora night as the first 20,000 fans score the stylish Mariners Fedora in team's retro colors. For tickets to one of the best giveaways of the year, visit Mariners.com. Tell you what, Mike, if you are a fan of headwear, the Mariners have you covered so far this season. We've seen the beard hat, the bear hat, now the fedora.
Do you have a favorite?
Oh, the bear hat for sure.
The bear hat. I would agree with that. Tyler Olson going to take over for the Mariners. 1-1 record, 4.82 ERA, 9 1/3. He has 7 strikeouts, 9 walks. We'll get a chance to see Tyler. Nobody else getting loose in the Mariner pen.
They'll face Jose Altuve. This is probably his last chance tonight to try to extend a multi-hit streak of, well, it would be 9 straight games.
And I would assume Gregerson is going to be getting loose in the Astros bullpen.
Not good news. Gregerson has had the Mariners number. And there he is.
Well, Mariners will put the shift on with Altuve hitting. Cano over on the left side of the infield.
Try anything at this point.
And you can see him trying to hit the ball the other way.
Along those lines, A.J. Hinch, the first-year manager for the Astros, said something very interesting today. He said, every time Altuve goes to the batter's box, he said he walks right past me, see where he's in the dugout. And he says sometimes he'll just give me a quick, witty one-liner. A guy who enjoys playing the game as, well, Altuve, another multi-hit game, 9 in a row. That ties a franchise record. Billy Hatcher in 87. You're just talking about the Alou brothers, Jesus Alou in 69.
And as soon as he hits this pitch, inside out, swing through the other side, he'll look to his dugout, letting him know that he was paying attention and able to beat the shift.
So 9 straight multi-hit games, a 10-game hitting streak overall, where he's hitting close to 500. But Mike, Hinch said that sometimes when Altuve will walk past him, he'll just say right field, or he'll say left field. He'll basically tell him where he's going to hit the ball. And A.J. Hinch, a former catcher in the big leagues, caught for the A's, played in the Kingdome, played against some great Mariners teams. He said it reminds me a little bit of Edgar Martinez, a guy who can hit directionally almost at will.
That's an interesting comparison. I know if teams tried to shift on Edgar Martinez, you can bet there would be a line drive hit the other way.
Good snap throw. Altuve back in. Altuve a walk and a run scored in the first, and a single his last 2 times up. One hop, Cano's belt, Miller for 1, first in time, double play. Wipes away the leadoff single by Altuve.
Well, the Mariners pitching tonight has been pretty good. If you look at it, the Astros so far are just 0 for 2 with runners in scoring position. It's been the 2 home runs that's been the difference. The 2-run homer by Gaddis and then the solo home run. And that has been it.
First pitch strike to Springer. Yeah, you're right. For Elias, it got off to a rocky start, but then settled down. And as you mentioned, the home run to Marisnik, first pitch fastball that he just jumped on. Gregerson getting ready for the 9th. A.J. Hinch said of Gregerson that one of the problems, well, not really a problem, but one of the issues with Gregerson, a former setup man, is that he has to make sure that Gregerson pitches regularly. Setup guys used to pitching so much more than closers. And it's a struggle for him at times to get him in the game enough. Otherwise, he just gets a little antsy.
Well, and the other part of it with Gregerson is he has a really good sinker. And at times with too much rest, he probably gains a little bit of velocity, but that straightens him out.
Hammered high, deep, and this is gone by a ton. Springer's 4th on the season. And the first home run allowed by Tyler Olson makes the comeback a run tougher.
He gets an off-speed pitch, and it will be right in the middle of the plate, 77 miles an hour. So the Astros, who came into the game leading the American League in home runs, have added to that with 3 more, and a total of 32.
And they've all been blasted. For Springer, his 3rd home run in his last 7 games. As he's starting to heat up a little bit. Comes with 2 outs. Every run on the long ball for the Houston Astros. Gaddis, tough play there. Seager, a stumble, picks himself up. And Gaddis is safe. Off the bag at first. Base hit for Gaddis. What an effort by Kyle Seager, though.
Well, take a look at it. It goes into Kyle's glove, then it pops out, but he's able to get it quickly. 1 hop off the ground. What great concentration. Just was not able to get enough on the throw. Gaddis, for a big man, can get down the line. I think he would have beaten it out either way.
Infield single extends the 8th inning with 2 outs. As Robbie Grossman pinch running for the Astros. First pitch and a smash off the bat of Chris Carter, and a leaping catch, Austin Jackson. A round of applause in the bullpen there. A home run, though, by Springer. And through 8, the Mariners down to their final 3 outs. They need to grab 3 runs. As Luke Gregerson, the closer in his first year with the Astros, up on the mound.
4 saves and 5 opportunities, a 1.64 ERA. In 11 innings, he has 8 strikeouts. He's only walked 1 batter. Opponent's hitting 158. Heavy sinker, good slider. Try to keep the ball on the ground. Astros have the shift on with Cruz hitting.
3 outs to get 3 runs. High fly. Marisnik Looking this one all the way up by the train tracks.
He hit the train. He hit one of the spokes on the train. Oh, that's a quick run.
My goodness, Nelson Cruz, touch them all. In fact, take 2 laps. His 11th home run of the season. And that ball was absolutely murdered.
It hit one of the spokes on that wheel.
Now, the Overalls isn't used to getting many home run balls. Gets one tonight, though.
Take a look at the swing by Nelson Cruz. This is a towering home run.
Bring your glove. Mariners get that run right back. One-0 to Seager. Oh, that is the first time in a long, long time the Mariners have gotten a run against Luke Gregerson. Working now for the 3rd straight day. Gregerson has allowed only 1 earned run over 20 appearances entering tonight against Seattle. In fact, the last run the Mariners got off of Gregerson before that mammoth home run by Nelson Cruz, you have to go back to 2010. That's when Jose Lopez doubled and it scored Sean Figgins. That's the last time the Mariners scored against Gregerson. Two balls and 2 strikes to Seager. High slicer. Rasmus racing to the corner. There in time. One out, but a run in. Well, the first girls' night out event of the year is set for Friday, May 8th, when the Mariners take on the Oakland A's. For just $35, you'll get a view or terrace club suite, a great-looking Mariners cap, and your first drink. Visit mariners.com/girls for tickets. Mike, one thing about a handful of Nelson Cruz home runs that we've seen this year, of course, we've seen the laser beam home runs, the ones that go the opposite way, but he has now at least 2 that have been hit so high, you think off the bat, how in the world is that going to get out with the trajectory that he hit it at?
No, I would agree. Lloyd talks about it all the time. He can backspin a baseball. There's no question. And he's just so strong. We were talking about leverage earlier, too, and that's one of the other things that he really does well. Strong man.
And that home run that he hit earlier in this road trip in Arlington, which measured at about 483 feet, that was the longest hit home run in baseball this year.
That was more of a semi-line drive home run, would you say? It wasn't the big high towering one.
It was the elevated lightsaber is what that was. Well, you have to think that Cruz is a guy who very well could take home some hardware for American League Player of the Month after the April that he had. Other guys in the mix, Hanley Ramirez, also 10 home runs. These stats not updated through tonight's games. So Cruz, pardon me, May 1st. So these are all through the end of yesterday. So Cruz, 11 home runs, now 23 RBIs. Those are the April numbers. 2-2 to Lomo.
I think he's deserving of it. We were talking about it earlier. If you start to look at slugging percentage, on base percentage, and all the other numbers in there, he's the guy that's out in front.
Adam Jones, a great month of April.
Great month.
Hit 400.
Yep.
Didn't have quite the same pop. The 2-2. Check swing, and it stays at 2 balls and 2 strikes. So Cruz has the longest hit home run. He has the hardest hit ball. That walk-off winner against the Texas Rangers. And we've played a month and a game. And let's see what the tape measure says that one is.
Well, I can tell you at the base of the wall it says 404.
A rocket off of Lomo's bat. This is driven deep to right field, and Springer will watch it fly. 2 home runs here in the 9th inning for the Mariners, and they are within striking distance. Lomo goes yard for the 2nd time this season. Mariners down by a run.
And a couple of hits. We were talking about Logan. He had 4 hits in the final game in Arlington. Picks up a base hit last night. This is his 2nd hit. He had a triple earlier in the game. Great job keeping his hands back. It looked like a changeup. Just dropped the barrel on it and lined it into the seats. I wasn't sure it was going to be high enough, but it gets into the seats.
Two outs left for the Mariners to grab 1 run. Gregerson now facing Brad Miller. So how about that? We told you the numbers. Gregerson, 1 run his last 20 appearances against the Mariners. And he coughs up 2 before getting the 2nd out here tonight. And neither one was cheap. The 1-1 to Miller. Little nubber, Gregerson. 2 outs.
This looks like it's just a good sinker. It's on the outside corner, but down a little bit. Yeah, Brad hits it off the end of the bat. Good play by Gregerson, getting off the mound in a hurry, barehanding it and throwing a strike. It'll be down to Ricky Weeks. Ricky came on the pinch hit for Ackley back in the 7th inning and grounded out.
Mariners down to their final out. Weeks the tying run. First pitch strike.
If Ricky can reach base, you have Ruggiano out on deck. He is going to hit for Sucre.
Ruggiano ready. 0-2. Danny Farquhar loosening up. For the first time, there have been some cracks in the foundation of Luke Gregerson. The 0-2 to Weeks. And it stays put. Gregerson working for the 3rd straight day. The 2nd time he's done that this season, but he hasn't thrown many pitches his last 2 times out. So arm pretty fresh. Weeks down to his final strike. Check swing. Does not go.
Four pitches, all of them sliders, trying to keep the ball away from him.
And that'll be it. Gregerson to save. Coughs up 2 mammoth runs. The Cruz home run. The Lomo homer. But the Mariners can't get enough. And the home run in the bottom of the 8th by Springer really comes back to sting the Mariners.
Well, it does. But I think overall it's been the offense has struggled in the first 2 games of this series. The Mariners sweeping the Rangers. But to score on runs has been tough. They had some opportunities again early in the game. Weren't able to cash them in. And the Astros are on quite a roll right now. Good outing for Elias. His 2nd outing of the year, holding them to 3 runs over the 6 innings he pitched.
Yeah, quality start for Roenis Elias. But the Astros win it. Another close ball game. A 1-run win for Houston. Mariners post